Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. Jackie let me know that my video first time through froze, so I'm giving us another attempt to briefly go through this morning's Torah for Parashat Shmini, the third portion of the book of Leviticus. Give me just a moment to try to set up again. If you're comfortable typing, if you want to just say Shabbat Shalom and let me know if it's working now. Let's go ahead and give another quick attempt. It looks like I have 5 on, so I'm hoping that that's a good sign for us. So I had briefly mentioned that the first part of Parashat Shemini involves the unfortunate incident of the loss of 2 of Aaron's sons when they give a foreign fire. Shabbat Shalom to James. Good to see that this is maybe working a little bit better. That theme I'll come back to in a couple of weeks because it does recur in Acharei Mot. For much of Parashat Shemini, we're discussing the animals that are and are not kosher to eat, become kosher to eat. They're the animals that the Torah deems, if you're going to keep kosher, these are the ones that you can eat, that can have a kosher slaughter and be available to eat, and these are the ones that cannot. And I wanted to focus on the section that talks about the birds that we are not supposed to eat, and most specifically one particular bird. So if you have the PDF or if you have the Etz Chaim Chumash, I am on page 639, which is Leviticus chapter 11, verse 13 through 19 is what I'm going to go through. I'm going to do the first part of one of the verses in Hebrew, and then I'll jump to verse 19. So let's see. Okay, so right now it says, verse 13. ואת האלה תשקצו מן העוף לא יאכלו שקץ הם. The following you shall abominate among the birds. They shall not be eaten. They're an abomination. These are the birds that we are not supposed to eat. Yes, it looks like we are back. Shabbat Shalom. So we're not supposed to eat the eagle, the vulture, the black vulture, the kite, falcons of all varieties, the ravens of all varieties, ostrich, nightcock, seagulls. I've never been tempted to eat a seagull, but good to know it wouldn't be kosher anyway. Hawks of all variety, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the white owl, the pelican, the bustard, the stork, herons of all varieties, the hoopie, and the bat. So I'm going to focus actually on the stork, and not because of anything I know particularly about storks. I am not an ornithologist by any means. I'm not even a casual bird watcher. I know I've got some lovely birds in my backyard, but I don't know a ton about them. But I wanted to focus on the stork because of its Hebrew name. If we look over in verse 19 in the Hebrew, it says ve'et hachasidah. The chasidah. You may notice another word hidden in there that you might also know and never have thought to link it to a bird, is chesed, loving kindness. Chesed is one of the 7 values in Kabbalah that we reach toward. It is the value of, often translated as loving kindness. I like to think of it as love in action. Chesed is love that we do. And here we have a bird that is called chasidah, the stork, is what it's translated as. And Rashi, and one of my favorite commentators who lived in France in the Middle Ages, says that the stork gets to be called chasidah, gets to be a bird of chesed, because it deals with chesed, it deals kindly with its fellows in respect to food. I think many of us have heard the phrase in Pirkei Avot of Ezehu Hacham Halomed Mikol Adam. In Pirkei Avot, chapter 4, the first Mishnah says, "Who is wise? The one who learns from all people." I think with Rashi's comment here, it reminds me of a passage in Talmud. We could actually modify that. Ezehu Hacham, who is wise, Halomed Mikol Habriot, the one who learns from every creature, every person, and every animal. There's a passage in Talmud that says, Rabbi Yochanan taught, if the Torah had not been given, we would nonetheless have learned modesty from the cat, who covers its where it goes. And cats are very modest. They clean themselves and they stick to corners. We would have learned that stealing is objectionable from ants who do not take grains from one another. We'd have learned fidelity from the dove who is faithful to its partner. The idea here is that we learn from animals. And so I think, one, I want to dedicate our learning right now to all of our pets. I think every one of us who has a pet at home has a special opportunity right now to think for a moment, what have you learned from your pet? One thing I have learned from my cat, from Lintella, is that anything can be a source of joy and play if you try hard enough. Regularly, if we have a bottle of wine open at dinner, Lintilla will climb up onto the table and steal the cork, and she now has a small collection of wine corks that she has decided are her toys. And so from her, I learned that even the most unexpected things can be a source of joy and of fun. And I think many of us have opportunity to learn things from our pets. So if you have any cats or dogs or birds or fish or lizards, any kind of pets at home, think for a moment about something that you can learn from your pet and things we can learn from the animals. And then I want to think specifically about the chasidah, the stork, who acts with chesed when it comes to food. And I think right now, many of us who are staying at home have the privilege of shelter, and we have the privilege of enough food. And so I would encourage us also to take a lesson from the stork, from the chasidah, to act with chesed, with loving kindness when it comes to food. Right now, there are many who are staying at home without stable income to make sure that they have enough food, and there are some who don't even have the shelter and need to seek food from other locations that are having a harder time than usual, making sure that they have enough food to share with those who need it most. And so if you take a moment, let's learn from the stork, from the chasidah, to behave with chesed when it comes to food to our fellow human beings. If you are local, make a donation to your local food shelters, whether financially or food. Here in Indy, we've got Popsy's Pantry and Gleaner's Food. Or another opportunity, Rabbi Dennis shared yesterday on his Facebook page that the Carmel Interfaith Alliance, an interfaith alliance of clergy of all different kinds of clergy in the Carmel area, is working in an initiative to donate gift cards for supermarkets so that those can be distributed without us having to physically touch one another's food, that can then make it possible for those who are less fortunate to seek out the specific foods that they need in their homes. So I would encourage us this week to look at our pets in a new way, learn something fun from our animals that we get to spend time with, and to make sure that we learn, especially from the stork, the chasidah, to behave with chesed when it comes to food, and share our bounty, share our resources with others who need it most. So Shabbat Shalom. Cantor will be in just a couple of minutes for the Shabbat Chance Encounters. Hope you hang out right here on Facebook Live for a few more minutes with her. We'll see you this evening for our group Havdalah, and I will see any other opportunities to be together as Beth-El Zedek as a community. And I will see you next week at 10 a.m., hopefully without the glitch of the internet, for our next Torah Talk. Shabbat Shalom, and Toda Rabba for tuning in. Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.